I wanted to give a final no spoiler review of Expedition 33 now that I've beaten it. So starting with the gameplay, just as I predicted, this proved to exceed expectations in terms of having a unique selling point within its genre. Oftentimes, games released these days look for gaps within a genre to stand out from the crowd, and this is commonly done by combining genres and looking for what's trending in gaming. Balatro is a good example of this, of combining card games with roguelikes. So in this way, it feels like Sandfont Interactive did see the gap that turn-based games had in the market, where although they are undoubtedly beloved and have been since its inception, there was a certain barrier for people to get into the genre still due to a common sentiment around turn-based games being too slow or boring. And their solution was to combine the genre with elements that make the game more mechanically challenging and make it reminiscent of action RPGs that have been popular in the last few years. Combine that with the aesthetics more catered to a Western audience, you got a fresh take on a long-standing genre that has proven to be enjoyed globally. I enjoyed the heck out of the combat in this game. Compared to the demo, I didn't realize how much more fun combat could be, because beyond the obvious fun things like learning how to parry and fighting strong optional bosses, there's things like stacking passive abilities and lots of really cool skills to unlock as you level in the game. I like how, unlike a game like Octopath Traveler, there's less need for grinding if you are underleveled, and it's fair game to just test your parrying skills if you're looking to win some of the harder fights. There's a good balance of feeling really strong at times, but also being quickly humbled by the most OP enemies in the game. And there's a lot of those bosses to find as you explore the world and do side content. The wanderlust that comes naturally as you progress the story will probably double the amount of time it takes to beat the game narratively. Story-wise, it was one hell of a ride. There's a mix of tragic moments, heartfelt moments, fun and whimsical moments, and downright shocking twists and turns. The story isn't overly complicated, but also enough to make you wonder what's really going on the entire time. Learning about the motivations behind each character was very interesting. My biggest points of feedback are mostly quality of life things. None of these are deal breakers, but I think they're still fair points to bring up. First, I don't really understand why they didn't add some sort of quest tracker in the game. There's clearly side quests to fulfill from various characters you meet, but nothing built into menus to keep track of them, so you kind of just have to make a mental note of remembering to do them. A really nice to have thing would also be a way to keep track of bosses or ways to check off various locations you visited, but I think most of us have resorted to Googling guides as the best way to keep track of everything. Second, I wish there was more than one camera angle in dungeons. Having the camera pretty closely fixated into the character makes it so you can easily miss paths or items during dungeon crawling. Although I try to be meticulous with checking every corner, I wouldn't doubt if I miss a bunch of stuff just because of the camera and this game just naturally having dark lighting. There's also no maps in dungeons, which can add on to this frustration, and while I understand having maps can be a little too handholdy, I think there's ways to make maps convenient while not making the game too easy, like obscuring parts of the map that haven't been explored or markers on the map at locations you picked up something. Any other critiques beyond that are mostly story pacing things and not liking some of the story direction mostly towards the end of the game. Those are my biggest thoughts on the game without spoiling anything. In the end, was it worth it? Heck yeah, it was. Is it game of the year? I mean, maybe. I don't really care to answer this question, nor do I care about advocating for this game to be game of the year, because we're not even halfway through the year yet.